All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Pim's Lantern Cave up here on the third floor. So I really appreciate y'all. If y'all came and watched my videos yesterday of the HC lantern, got some ideas from some people about some videos to do. I got a whole list of things that I'm going to try to get scheduled up. I hope y'all will tune in for it. So today I want to talk about why we do this, and if you have an interest in lanterns and you're thinking about maybe starting a collection, or maybe you've got a couple lanterns in your garage that were passed down from family members, maybe you've got some in your workshop or you do some camping with them, maybe it's been sitting on your bench for a couple years and you're not really sure how to use it. So we're going to go through some of that stuff today. We're going to talk about some of the parts of a lantern and what makes a Coleman lantern a lantern and how you operate it. So I have in front of me is my collector's book. I would seriously suggest, if you don't have one, if you're interested in Coleman, that you pick one up. They're a great read. They give a lot of information, and I think it would be extremely beneficial, especially if you're a new collector, even an experienced one, to get your hands on one. They can be a little hard to get, but if you look hard enough, you will find one. So in front of me, this lantern down here that's in the book is an actual cutout, and actually it was photographed, and somebody actually was able to cut this lantern in half to kind of show how it looks. Are all the parts of a lantern from, my guess would be the 1930s and up into the 1950s. This is a cutout of a 240 series lantern, so probably going to be a 242B or a 242C, and it's a really nice representation of what the lantern is and how all the parts work. Now, for collectors starting out, sometimes there's some things and terms that you may hear that you might not be familiar with. One of the big common ones that people certainly confuse sometimes is the tank, or as the proper nomenclature is called, the fount, F-O-U-N-T. This is what houses the gas, and this is what you would actually fill with gas or kerosene, depending on the type of fuel that you're going to use. It would be sitting on the bottom of the lantern with a steel base plate on the bottom that seals it, and then it comes up and around here. On the fount itself is the cap, or the gas cap, that you would use to put the gas inside of the fount. These can come in one-piece or three-piece cap, depending on the year that they were manufactured. And if they're still present, sometimes you'll find replacement caps because people didn't know how to actually service these, and they just tossed them somewhere. A lot of times you may even find them in tackle boxes if you go to flea markets and that kind of thing. Inside of the fount is the fuel air tube. This is what pulls the gas up and into the lantern once the fount is pressurized. You'll see the pump sleeve down here. This goes inside of the fount, where the pump, actually the plunger is, and the pump cap. There's a pump cup down here. It's usually made out of leather. The newer ones are made out of neoprene, and this is what is actually used to pressurize the lamp. Inside down here, you have the check valve, and also the air stem that is used to plug up the check valve. The check valve prevents air from coming back up and through once the fount is pressurized. There's a little BB ball inside of there that goes back and forth. Sometimes these can be a little problematic if they've sat for a while. If you are pumping the lantern and you put your thumb on the pump and you feel that the pump starts to slide out, that's usually an indication that your check valve is leaking. Moving up higher into the lamp, you've got the entire valve assembly. This valve moves out, and you can see how it's tapered. It allows this fuel air. There's a fuel pin in here, and as you pull this, it allows this pin to come up, thus releasing the pin from the bottom and allowing fuel and air to come up and through here. Back here, you've got the pricker assembly, or the tip cleaner. The tip cleaner runs a tip. There's a little metal rod in here, a little wire in here, and up top near the gas tip, when you spin this, it allows this rod to go up and down to clean the orifice, or the little tiny hole that's up on top of your generator. This is your generator assembly. As you come up here, both sides of this, looking at the 242, these are your air tubes. Okay, it feeds the air up into here, into the mixing chamber. The mixing chamber is where the gas and air are mixed together before coming down into the mantle and then burning. This is your burner assembly, the entire burner assembly and frame. You've got the collar that's here that the lantern sits on, or sometimes also referred to as the base rest. That's this part here. This big handle outside we refer to as the bail. The bail is where the lantern is held. It's usually snapped into a couple of milled holes that are on either side of the lantern. Coming up to the top, as I said before, you've got the mixing chamber. This is the generator nut. You've got the valve wheel over here. You've got the valve body. And then up at the top, you've got the ventilator rod, which the ventilator will sit on, and then you've got the ball nut that actually holds the ventilator on top. A couple things that are omitted from this picture, if you will, are going to be the actual vent, or the ventilator itself. They come in many different shapes and sizes. You have the burner, or the burner cap, and then obviously you have the glass globe that goes on the lantern that shields all the internal parts and contains all the heat and transfers most of that heat to the generator for optimum burning. So those are kind of some of the pieces and the parts that make up a lantern. So now you have an idea of what you're looking at and what you're going to be working with. Next video, if you look at the next video, I'm going to do a top 5 suggestion on lanterns. If you only could get 5 items and you're just starting out, that I would suggest you grab. They're going to be based on simplicity and they're going to be based on availability. I hope you'll tune in.